Good afternoon. Thank you. Welcome to the November 13th Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. I am your chairperson, Brian Fry. Welcome. Hope everyone is enjoying the fall weather. We do have a lengthy agenda today, so we're hoping to get out by 4. Commissioner Aldrich still has his Halloween decorations up, and the HOA is on his case. So try and get out while there's still some sun. With that, let's roll the opening announcements, please.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the commission and the board will be retained by the secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the planning department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
All right, next item on the agenda is 1.2, roll call of the members present. Mr. Wadle?
Yes, sir. Fry.
Present.
Mader. McKay.
Here.
Dool. Here. Bill Johnson is absent. Hi. Here. Nix.
Here.
Klontz. Here. Warren.
Here.
Joe Johnson. Here. Miles.
Present.
Zimbelman.
Here.
Aldrich.
Here.
Williams Bay. Sir, I show 13 members are present and 1 is absent.
All right, thank you. Item 1.3 is the approval of the prior MAPC meeting minutes from October 23rd. I show Commissioner Joe Johnson was absent.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Miles with a second by Commissioner Williams Bay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Mr. Joe Johnson would be abstained. Thank you. Motion passes. Next item is 1.4, a determination of MAPC items that we can approve on consent. We will go through the subdivision committee recommendations first. Item 2.1 is subdivision 2025-38. This is a one-step final plat of the EMA addition, North Broadway and K235. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.1 to consent. Item 2.2 is subdivision 2025-47, a one-step final plat, the Bender Steel Edition, 117th Street North and North 143rd Street East. There has been a staff update and clarification since the subdivision committee recommendation, so we will have a brief update on that and hear that. Item 2.3, subdivision 2025-55, one-step final plat, Stone Post Edition, West 63rd Street South in K42. Now, during agenda review, there was some discussion if we were going to have to hear this or not.
Greg, do
Staff
you know
update.
if we got any word from KDOT regarding that access point?
Yeah, they approved it, so.
Okay, sounds like we can take it on consent.
Okay, so are there any members on the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, item 2.3 will be on consent. Item 2.4, subdivision 2025-56, a one-step final plat for Sage 2 Estates, South 247th Street West in K42. Are there any members on the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.4 to consent. Item 2.5 is subdivision 2025-57, a one-step final plat for Oliver Square, East Central Avenue and North Oliver Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.5 to consent. Was that a motion?
Move to approve agenda items 2.1, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5.
Second.
We have a motion to approve items 2.1, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5 from Commissioner Miles with a second by Commissioner Joe Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Public hearing vacation items. Item 3.1, vacation 2025-38, that has been deferred to December 4th. Item 3.2, vacation 2025-43, a vacation request in the city for SF5, South 143rd Street East and East Pawnee Road. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.2 to consent. Item 3.3, vacation 2025-44, vacation request in the county for a right-of-way, North 47th Street East and approximately East 93rd Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.3 to consent. Item 3.4, vacation 2025-45, vacation request in the city for utility easement, approximately West Irving Avenue and South Seneca Street. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.4 to consent. Item 3.5, vacation 2025-46. This is in the city for a 20-foot drainage and utility easement, roughly Fairmount Avenue and Thunder Street. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.5 to consent. Item 3.6, vacation 2025-47 for a platted setback in a zone CUP for easements related to water and straighten a right-of-way, East Kellogg Drive and South Wildcat Lane. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? There is an associated CUP later in the agenda that has some language related to the utility easement that we're going to include in that, and we'll hear that later. But as it relates to this vacation request, no one from the commission wants to hear it. Does anyone from the public want to hear it? We'll move 3.6 to consent.
I move to approve agenda item 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6.
We have a motion to approve with a second by Commissioner, I just totally lost your name, Warren. Sorry, Chuck. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Item 4.1, the public hearings. It's conditional use 2025-118, a conditional use amendment for a personal improvement service, generally East Central and North Edgemore Drive. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.1 to consent. 4.2, Con 2025-133. Again, a conditional use request in the city for a personal improvement service in a GO district, South Seneca Street and West 29th Street South approximately. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.2 to consent. Item 4.3, Con 2025-134. Conditional use in the county for an accessory apartment in an RR district, West 47th Street South and South 231st Street West. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? I would. Where's that at? Okay, thank you. You'll have the opportunity in a few minutes. Is the applicant or agent present on this case?
That's me.
Okay, and you still want to hear it? Is there an objection to the staff?
There's no objection, I don't know the,
So if you're in agreement with the staff recommendations, and then we can just approve it on consent. Are you good with that?
good with that.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move item 4.3 to consent. Item 4.4, conditional use 2025-136, conditional use request in the city for a limited group residence in an SF5 district, North Oliver Avenue and East 21st Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case?
Yes.
Okay, is the owner, applicant, agent present?
Yes.
You're, okay, as long as you're here for it, so good. We will hear item 4.4. Item 4.5, conditional use 2025-138. This is a request in the city to allow vehicle and equipment sales on LC zoning, generally located at South Meridian and West Pawnee. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.5 to consent. Item 4.6, Con 2025-141, conditional use request in the county for an RV campground on RR zoning, South 159th Street West and East 63rd Street South. Staff recommendation is to deny, so we will be hearing this case. Is the owner, applicant, agent present?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we will hear item 4.6. Next page, item 4.7, CUP 2025-36. This is an amendment in the city to a CUP DP 347 on parcels 1, 5, and 6, roughly East Kellogg Street and South Wildcat Lane. This is the case that I referred to earlier. There's some language cleaned up regarding utility easement. So we will have a brief update from staff on that. So we will hear item 4.7. Item 4.8, Zone 2025-46, zone change request in the county from RR to GC to allow a vehicle storage yard and warehouse, generally located at North 95th Street East and Highway 254. Are there any members of the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.8 to consent. Item 4.9, Zone 2025-48, zone change request in the city from SF5 to TF3, approximately the west side of South Vine and West Douglas Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.9 to consent. Item 4.10, Zone 2025-49 with Con 2025-140. Zone change request in the city from SF5 to TF, two-family residential with a conditional use overlay to allow multifamily density, North Arapahoe and West Central Avenue approximately. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 410 to consent. Item 411, Zone 2025-50, zone change request in the city from SF5 and LC to LI, roughly 45th Street North and North Oliver Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case?
Yes.
Okay, and is the owner, applicant, or agent present? Okay, great, thank you. We will hear item 411. And please remind your cell phone to off or silent. Thank you. 412, is Zone 2025-51. Zone change request in the city from SF5 to B multifamily with a protective overlay, roughly Pawnee Avenue and South Hillside Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 412 to consent. And our last item on public hearing is 413, Zone 2025-52. Zone change request in the city from LI to TF3, roughly West 31st Street South and South 119th Street West. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 413 to consent. All right. Who's ready? Someone keeping track? I've got it unless you want to.
Okay, I
Go for
move
it.
to approve agenda item 4-1, 4-2, 4-5,
Hold on. 4-3.
oh, sorry, 4-3, yep, 4-3, 4-5, 4-8, 4-9, 4-10, 4-12, 4-13. Did I get them all?
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Miles with a second by Commissioner High to approve the consent items. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. All right, next item is 1.5. We will recess to the Board of Zoning Appeals agenda. Before we hear these items, first item on the BZA appeals agenda is the approval of the prior BZA meeting minutes from October 9th. There were no commissioners absent.
Approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Williams-Bay with a second by Commissioner Zimbelman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Item 2, BZA 2025-64. This is a variance request to allow a 65-foot pole sign that has been withdrawn by the applicant, so we will not need to hear item 2. Item 3 is BZA 2025-67. This is a sign variance request in the city to allow for a roof sign on property zone CBD, roughly South Hydraulic Avenue and East English Street. Staff recommendation is that it does not meet the 5 criteria, so we will hear this case. Item 4, BZA 2025-70. It's a variance request in the city to allow a 10-foot fence on property zoned RR at South 103rd Street East, within 1/2 mile south of East 55th Street South. Staff recommendation is that it does meet all 5 criteria, so unless there is anyone wanting to hear this case, we can approve on consent. Does anyone from the commission wish to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public who wishes to hear this case? Seeing none, we can approve item 4 on consent.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Miles with a second by Commissioner Williams-Bay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Thank you. So we will now hear item 3, which is BZA 2025-67. And Momita, I believe it's your case, correct?
Good afternoon. This is Momita from the Planning Department, and I'll be presenting BZA 2025-67. The applicant is requesting a variance to the Wichita Sign Code to install a roof sign on a structure in the CBD Central Business District zoning. Next slide, please. The property is a 0.5 acre property. It is generally located on the west side of the South Hydraulic Avenue and south of East English Street. The site includes 3 parcels separated by an alley. 2 of the parcels are on South Hydraulic Avenue and 1 on the Greenwood Avenue. Section 24 3.04.197 of the sign code states several regulations regarding signs. Item 3 of the section specifically prohibits rooftop signs unless approved by variance, and thus you see this application in front of you today. The proposed sign, can I move to this site plan provided by the applicant, please? The proposed sign measures 27 feet by 5 feet. The sign featuring 8 47-inch tall block facelit channel letters mounted to a 5 feet tall supporting frame will be mounted atop a 36 feet high building and oriented facing an alley and the property's own fenced parking lot. Can I move to the slide just before this? Thank you. And that's the sign that you can see. The white text on the proposed sign reads Hyde Park and is displayed as one row. And now if we could move to the conceptual images provided by the applicant. Next, please. Next. Okay. A survey of the area showed that there are no roof signs in the immediate vicinity. The nearest roof sign is in the downtown core, approximately 1 mile to the west. The purpose of the variance request is to install a roof sign on the building for wayfinding and identification. Properties surrounding the subject sites are all zoned CBD or Central Business District, except on the east side of the South Hydraulic is zoned GC or General Commercial. Property to the north is developed with a funeral service and a surface parking lot. Property to the south is developed with single-family dwellings. Property to the west across the South Greenwood Avenue is the Hyde Park. Property to the east is zoned general commercial, developed with warehouse office. The proposed roof sign, due to its height, illumination, and lack of visual buffering, would be prominently visible from the east side of the Hyde Park, potentially affecting the park's atmosphere and visitor experience. In addition, the sign would be visible from the single-family dwellings in the south and southwest, which could affect the visual quality of the adjacent residential area. I'll now go through the 5 criteria for granting the variance, and I'll specifically go through the ones that the staff disagrees with. Criteria number 1, the variance requested arises from a condition that is unique to the property and is not created by an action of the property owner or applicant. The applicant states that due to the layout of the siding and the placement of the apartment complex windows, there is limited space available for an oblong wall sign appropriately sized for the scale of the building. Additionally, a roof sign is a more aesthetic option for this property, aligning with its industrial character and brand, providing a cohesive design element that a wall sign, pole sign, or ground sign cannot achieve. Staff disagrees with this statement. The applicant has not demonstrated that the desired results for wayfinding identification cannot be accomplished with a building or pole sign. I'm jumping to criteria number 3. The strict application of the provisions of sign code would constitute an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. The applicant states due to window and siding placement, a wall-mounted sign would require either a reduction in size unproportional to the building scale or run the risk of overlapping apartment windows, negatively impacting residents. By contrast, a roof-mounted sign both avoids these conflicts, allows for better visibility, and allows for alignment with the parking lot entryway, which is the main point of arrival for tenants and visitors. Staff disagrees with this statement too. The applicant has not demonstrated that the desired results for wayfinding identification cannot be accomplished with a building or a pole sign. Criteria number 4, the variance will not adversely affect public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, general welfare, or harmonious development of the community. The applicant states the proposed variance will not adversely affect public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, or general welfare. On the contrary, the roof sign will enhance the visibility for the Hyde Park flats, improving safety for both residents and visitors. Because the sign identifies the complex adjacent to Hyde Park, a large public amenity, it contributes to community identity around Hyde Park and reinforces the perception of the neighborhood as a desirable area. The high-end LED channel letter design mounted to an industrial style sign scaffold adds to the area's upscale character, supporting economic growth and harmonious development. According to the staff analysis, the staff disagrees with this statement. It does not promote harmonious development because there are no other similar signs in the vicinity. And also based on the height above the ground and illumination, it will change the nighttime environment in the area. Criteria number 5, the granting of the variance will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the sign code. The applicant states the proposed roof sign is functionally equivalent to a permitted wall sign. It uses the same face-lit channel letters, the same LED components, creates no more visibility or lighting impact than a wall sign, and follows accepted design and safety standards. The only difference is the point of attachment, roof versus wall. Because a wall sign of identical design would be permitted outright, we believe the variance simply allows for a placement that is better suited to this property's unique design and enhances the aesthetic and branding of the development. This alignment with the industrial high-end aesthetic of the area strengthens the spirit of the code rather than contradicting it. Staff disagrees with this statement and permitting a roof sign at this location in place of a building or pole sign for identification is not in the spirit and intent of the code. The applicant has not demonstrated that the desired results for wayfinding identification cannot be accomplished with a building or a pole sign. Staff agrees to the criteria number 2, which says the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the rights of the adjacent property owners or the residents. The recommendation of staff is that the variance to allow for one roof sign does not meet the 5 criteria to grant a variance. Should the board determine that all 5 criteria necessary for granting this variance can be found to exist, then it's a recommendation that the variance is granted with the conditions stated in the staff report. And with that, I'll go through the site pictures one by one. And just to let you know, it was an active construction area, so I did my best to take the pictures. Looking at east towards the site, and that's the building here where the proposed sign would go. Next picture. Looking north from alley between the parcel. Next. Looking west from the alley. Next. Looking south towards from the site. Next. Looking east away from the site. Next. Looking east towards the building for the proposed roof sign from the South Greenwood Avenue. Next. Looking south from the alley. Next. Looking at the building for the proposed roof sign from the alley. Next. Looking north from the site. Next. Looking south from the site. Next. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you and appreciate the report. Momita, criteria number 1, it says that's unique to the property and is not created by an action of the property owner or applicant. To be clear, is this a new structure or is it an existing structure that got remodeled or reskinned or anything?
I believe it's a new structure, the multifamily residential.
And then on item 3, the criteria says the strict application of the provisions of the sign code. Does it meet all of the requirements of the sign code except for the variance approval?
It is smaller than the maximum size of building signs that's approved by the sign code. So I believe it does meet the other criterias.
The only one that it doesn't meet is the variance request.
The sign code states that any rooftop sign in CBD zoning should go through a variance.
Right, okay. But it's, in terms of the size, it's just, it's.
The size is
small enough.
smaller than the maximum size approved by the
Thank you.
code.
And on criteria number 4, just to be clear, the sign itself overlooks their parking lot, correct?
Yes,
It faces
the
the park-
alley and the parking lot, a
Does
fenced
it
parking
face
lot.
hydraulic or any of the
So
other
this-
side streets?
Yes, so the sign would be on the building on this side. It would overlook a parking lot here and the alley over here.
Okay. And what is the rough distance from that alley to Greenwood? And maybe the applicant can answer that.
It's
Yeah,
probably about 150
yeah.
feet. It kind of looks like a standard depth
Okay.
of a lot.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, Momita. We'll now ask the applicant and/or agent to come forward, present your case. You'll have up to 10 minutes, and I would just remind you that criteria 2, staff agreed with, so you don't need to address that one.
Yeah, so I'll just give you the
Oh,
intent.
and please give us your name and address
Sorry.
for the record.
My name's Sam Jones. My address is 7507 East Huntington Street, Wichita, Kansas 67206. I am one of the developers for Hyde Park Flats. I wanted to give you a little bit of the backstory behind the idea of this sign. So I didn't know the name of the neighborhood or the park that this is next to before we started building these. It is Hyde Park. And so we named our development Hyde Park Flats. We thought it would be just a cool aesthetic addition to put Hyde Park on the rooftop facing the park. It would create a more cohesive neighborhood identity. We didn't put Hyde Park Flats because we're not looking to really promote ourselves. We're looking to promote the area and the park itself. These are backlit roof signs, so we obviously don't want this to be lighting up the night, but we do want people to be able to see the sign at night. Really, we want to be good neighbors, but we really feel like this would actually really benefit the aesthetic of the neighborhood. And I'm happy to ask any or answer any questions you may have. I really. Yeah.
Well, specifically, there are 4 points that the staff disagrees with you on. Do you want to address any one of those in order?
I would like, I think a lot of this criteria is subjective. I think that let's talk about adversely constitute an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. It really is difficult to see the name of the sign if it's lower just because of the depth of the westerly lot. We have a sign on the east side that is on the side of the building, but this is going to be the most visible spot. And like I said, we tried to design this in a way that promotes the neighborhood and the park as a whole. I would say criteria number 4, I really don't That's a subjective criteria. Public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, general welfare, or harmonious development. Harmonious development seems to be the word that is at issue here. This is a pocket that's CBD, so it's a mishmash of retail, industrial, single-family home, now multifamily. So you don't see a lot of truly harmonious development in CBD zoning, but we're trying to create a harmonious neighborhood perception by promoting Hyde Park as the identity of this community. So we think it actually promotes harmonious development here. And then granting of the variance will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the sign code. We are otherwise in compliance with the sign code. We do need a variance for a rooftop sign. I think one of the reasons I feel like this is a subjective requirement. We have passed the other sign code, so we think this would really add to the neighborhood in a positive way. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Warren.
You were required to put a pole sign in versus on the top of the building. Where would you go with that sign?
It would be very tricky. So the way that we have designed the buildings and the parking, we maximize every square foot of the lot. That's one of the reasons why we're able to charge affordable rents. We're charging, this is a workforce housing development, so the rents are going to be 60 to 80% of median income. So we have to maximize our building space. Otherwise, it doesn't make financial sense. So putting a pole sign, locating that sign would be difficult because we'd be either taking out a parking space, which we've got 29 spaces here. We just really don't want to take out any more parking spaces. And then we really don't have any space on the west or the east of the building because we are building literally right up to the property line.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Zimbelman.
Just to be clear, if you put this sign on the roof, will it be illuminated up there or not?
It'll be backlit, so it's not gonna have lights shining out. It's gonna have lights behind it so that when you're looking at it, you'll be able to see it. But we don't want this illuminating the parking lot. We don't want this shining in the window. We have one neighbor to our west, and we've spoken with them about the development. She's happy about it, but we don't want to be a blaring light in her back windows. So the intent of this is that you can see it at night, but it's not illuminating the adjacent properties.
Anyone else? Seeing none, stand by. We might have public comment.
Yep.
If there's anyone from the public who would like to address the commission on this item? Seeing none, thank you. Bring it, any more questions for the applicant? Because we have to approve, if we go forward with this, we have to find conditions that it meets all 5 variance requests as part of the motion. So
I'd like to move to that we approve this on the basis that the applicant has, through their written statements and through the testimony, prove that they do meet all 5 criteria and that it would be a benefit to the neighborhood.
is that clear enough for legal? Because I don't know that we've really found conditions to approve the variance request just by is that enough to say it's an agreement with the applicant? I know.
Based on the motion, that language is sufficient.
Okay. With that motion, Commissioner Mader, are you also recommending the alternative conditions and the subject
Yes,
to
I'm,
the
I'm
conditions?
sorry. I'm sorry, I did quit too soon there. And that it be approved according to the alternative findings of staff and conditions.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to approve the variance request and by Commissioner Mader with the second by Commissioner Warren. Open it for discussion. Commissioner Aldrich.
I have a quick question for the applicant, if I may, regarding the alternative. Do you support the alternative findings that are given on your sheet there from staff? There's 4 of them.
Okay, I'm reading through it. So the sign shall be constructed in substantial conformance with the approved site plan and conceptual image. That's good. Building freestanding and portable signs are prohibited on the west side of the structure and along Greenwood Avenue. Yeah, that's good too. We aren't looking to put signs along Greenwood. The sign shall conform to all requirements of the Wichita Sign Code except as modified by this variance. Absolutely. All permits necessary for the permitting and erection of the sign shall be obtained. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner McKay.
I'll be abstaining from the motion because I have property within the notification area.
Okay. Any, did I see something from staff?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Commissioner Dool thought maybe you had an additional statement. Is that correct? Did you have an additional statement?
No, I just wanted to clarify if the motion is to go ahead with the recommended action by the staff.
On the alternative, yes.
Alternative, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the motion, and it's been seconded properly. No more discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
So we have, is that 2 noes? Commissioner Klontz, Commissioner Aldrich, and 1 abstention? Okay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The vote count on that would be 10 to 2 to 1.
10-2-1, correct. All right. With that, we adjourn the BZA agenda. That was our last item. And we now return to regular action, which would be subdivision 2.2. And this was approval by staff, but since the subdivision, approved by subdivision, since that meeting, there was an update regarding property line, and I believe Greg has an update for us on that.
Greg Sharon, planning staff. Just a quick update. If you can look on the plat, there was a building that was there right here. The applicant decided to keep that building, and you can't approve a subdivision plat unless that building meets the setback requirements for that building. So the agent has just jogged this property line around that building right there. So we thought it was just a quick update that they did change it and that building will stay, and just that little jog.
And within lot 1,
Correct?
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Is everybody clear on that? All right, any questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission. I move we approve. Motion by Fry with the second by Miles. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Greg. Now we hear item 4.4, if I'm following correctly. Christina, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present CON 2025-00136. The applicant for this case is requesting a conditional use for group residence, specifically limited, on property zoned single-family residential district. It's 1.3 acres in size, generally located on the west side of North Oliver, just north of East 21st Street North. So the address is 15 Crestview Lakes Estate. The applicant has indicated they are requesting the conditional use in order to have 12 residents on site. It's currently developed with a single-family dwelling constructed in 1956, and the single-family dwelling, as we'll see in the site photos, appears vacant with boarded-up windows and doors. So the applicant would like to operate a home plus group home on this property. Normally within the single-family residential district, you can have a group home which is up to 10 people who are not related, so they are requesting 12 residents here. And then the Kansas Department for Aging and Disability Services has a definition of home plus, which is indicated in your staff report. So this would house up to 15 total individuals, so that would be 12 clients and then 3 appropriate staff members. So group residence is permitted within the single-family zoning district with a conditional use approval. The site plan submitted by the applicant shows a 2,449 square foot house. Access is going to be from North Oliver Avenue. Section 4A of the Unified Zoning Code requires 1 parking space per bedroom. The applicant has indicated that there will be 9 bedrooms in this house, so this site would require 9 parking spaces. And according to the site plan, they would have 3 parking spaces in front of the house and 6 parking spaces to the side of the house. The character of the neighborhood is low-density residential on the west side of North Oliver Avenue, higher-density residential and commercial uses on the east side of North Oliver Avenue. The conditional use request is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as to be appropriate for residential and employment mixed uses. The conditional use is also in conformance with the goals of the Wichita Places for People plan. The plan recommends strategies to help guide the community in their actions to create walkable places within Wichita. And specifically, strategy 5 is to provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area. In regards to the Northeast Heights Neighborhood Comprehensive Plan Amendment, the requested conditional use is in conformance with those goals. Policies 2 within the plan states that sufficient buffering should be provided between any non-single family residential development and residential uses so that noise, odor, and or light pollution will not be noticeable or apparent. Based upon the information available prior to the public hearing, staff is recommending approval of the conditional use request, subject to the conditions listed in your staff report. And this recommendation is based on the golden rules, which are also listed in your staff report. At the time, I did not receive any public comment regarding the requested conditional use. However, this did go to the District Advisory Board last week, and I will point out that they did recommend 2 additional conditions in addition to those that are provided in your staff report. The first one is that they would like to see residential trash being used on site as opposed to commercial dumpsters, commercial trucks. The second would be to provide a fence line, a screening on the north property line. So with that, I will go to some of the site photos. This is looking east away from the site. This is looking at North Oliver Avenue. Next slide, please. This is looking east towards the site, so this is the back of the house. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site, so per the DAB recommendation, they were requesting a solid screening fence along this property line. Next slide, please. This is looking north towards the site. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site towards another single-family residence. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the site. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site. Next slide, please. And this is looking west towards the site, towards the front of the house. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos. And with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Christina. Nice job. We have a question from Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, Christina, just also to clarify the fact this is non-commercial. still be residential. Therefore, it would not, they would not have to be required to put a fence up, correct?
So it is a recommendation from the Northeast Heights Comprehensive Plan Amendment. It is not a requirement. And then the recommendation from the DAB is again a recommendation. So, long story short, no.
Okay, but it's not a requirement.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Commissioner Williams Bay.
Christina, wasn't this a adult living facility before?
It was previously an adult living facility. I'm not sure how many residents were occupying the space. And if there were more than 10, then they were not in compliance.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the commission? Seeing none. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
We'll ask the applicant, agent, owner to come forward and give us your name and address for the record and your role with this project. And then you'll have up to 10 minutes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Alomenu, 1729 Paddington Circle, Newton, Kansas, 67114. Brief background, I bought this property about 3 months ago. Prior to that, it was a Home Plus facility housing up to 80 residents, to my knowledge. I went there a few times, and the place was in disrepair. And so I purchased the property 3 months ago with a plan of sort of reinventing the place, renovating, remodeling, making it more modernized. I also do have plans by my architect. Per code, this has to be approved by the fire marshal, Kansas State, which has been approved. And so my plan is to put in a fire alarm system, a sprinkler system, and also just modernize the place to make it more safe and vibrant for elderly people. Again, the goal of this project is to serve the community, right? Is to create a safe living space for our elderly population. When I saw that place the very first time, I was heartbroken because I believe that our elderly should live in, nice, beautiful facilities, safe for their well-being. Most of these residents will spend the rest of their days in facilities of that nature. And so I could have bought this property, left it as it is with 8 residents and no one would know, right? But I was active duty 80 years in the military. Integrity is the first core value that they teach us. And so based on my integrity values, I bought that property, let it sit for 3 months now, paying interest, losing money. But the plan is to do this right. I don't believe anyone should be penalized for doing the right thing. This has been a Home Plus for over 10 years. Way off code, no issues at all. I plan to do things the right way. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Real fast, can you pronounce your last name for me one time?
Alomenu.
Alomenu?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I know that it requires parking spaces. Are those paved parking spaces? It says that there will be 9 parking spaces. Are those paved?
Yes, sir. Currently, we have asphalt. My plan is to tear all that out and put concrete, so they will be paved.
Okay, thank you. It was hard to tell from the pictures. Commissioner Williams Bay.
Yeah, can you tell us how many bedrooms are there presently?
Currently, there are about 6 bedrooms housing 8 residents. Well, it's vacant now because the people moved out. But it is 6 bedrooms now, and my plan is to make it into a 9-bedroom unit. Some of the rooms will have single occupancy. There are 3 bedrooms that will have double occupancy. So total resident count of 12, 9 bedrooms with 3 of those rooms having 2 residents each.
Are you converting the garage into bedrooms?
The garage has already been converted, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Yes, sir, just to follow up on my question earlier regarding the fence. Are you planning to put a fence up? Would that concern you whether you did put it up or not? Are you, in favor of doing that, or what's your position on that?
And again, I want to make my neighbors happy. I want to be a good neighbor. I've met 2 of my neighbors, Mr. McAfee and the other one, I think Mark. I've met them both, and reports that I got from them indicated that they were not happy for the past 10 years with the previous operator. And I want to change things. I want to build a better relationship with the community. And so whatever the recommendation is, I'm happy to oblige.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Commissioner Warren?
Sir, one of the requests of the DAB, the Neighborhood Association, was that you have residential trash rather than a large dumpster. I can understand the need, the want for that, but I also wonder if that's realistic, considering the number of people that you have and the way that the operation would run. Can you get by with residential totes, or would you with a larger dumpster?
Well, I think with the traffic and the amount of waste that will be generated, residential may not suffice, but I can find ways to make that work. If it could be maybe smaller size commercial dumpsters, but I can also see why that could be an eyesore. But I mean, if my neighbors can attest, there used to be a dump truck sitting there for many, many years, which was an eyesore. And I can certainly improve and do better.
And Mr. Alamenu, I remember you said earlier that the space had been vacant. How many years was it vacant between the Home Plus and then your purchase?
Well, it's when I purchased the property, I requested that the residents be relocated. So it has been vacant for 3 months now, since end of August thereabout.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no more questions from the commission, please stand by.
Yes, sir.
Now we'll open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public who would like to comment on this case, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes. You might need to lower the mic a little bit. There we go.
Maybe.
Thank you.
There we go. I'm Julia Falke. I'm at 3 Crestview Lakes Estates here in Wichita. I am around the lakes of the neighborhood, and I am also the secretary of the Crestview Lakes HOA. A couple of housekeeping items. Joshua has gone ahead and answered the question about how long it had been boarded up. I felt like the staff report kind of led people to thinking that it had been boarded up for a long time. It had not. The previous folks that had that care home there were tenants. They did not own the property, and I can agree with Joshua that it was in disrepair and it was not taken good care of. The trash issue is not the eyesore of the metal commercial container. The problem is that the trash truck that comes in to pick it up, because we went through this with the prior people, it comes in at about 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, slamming in, slamming down, and you've got 3 adjacent properties right there. And I can pretty much guarantee not a one of you would want to have your sleep disrupted because of those trucks coming in. So it's not an issue of the eyesore. They did it for 1 week before I called the property owner, and Cheryl Tan called them and said, no, you've got to have residential. They got 2 residential bids from Waste Connections, and it was never a problem at that point. So we're still requesting that you put that in as a condition to protect the neighborhood. That would be the noise thing that would be the issue with us. And I know there was a dump truck there, and I don't understand what the dump truck was about. But the trash has to do with the noise and the time that they pick it up. I haven't heard from the NEHNA neighborhood at large, but there were never any signs that went up on the property. So I don't know that anyone would have had any specific objections. We just would like to make sure that he's a good neighbor and we're good neighbors. And it's a small HOA. There's only 13 of us, and we know each other all real well, and we're very harmonious, and we welcome Joshua into the neighborhood, but we just want to make sure that there's some ground rules that are there. Let me see here. The fence issue is, can you go to the slide that has the actual property and the legend? The site plan? Yeah, the site plan.
Man, there's a mouse right there that you can use.
Well, I can? Okay.
Yes.
No, I would say she can't advance the slides,
No,
though.
but once it's to the.
Oh, okay.
Can we go to the site plan?
Okay,
Once you're
so,
to the site
yeah,
plan.
the site plan.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. So this, there we go. Sorry. Okay, so this is the driveway that runs up the north side of the property. The prior home, the staff parked over here, and there was only 2 staff.
Ms. Falke,
Yeah,
I will allow you up to 1 more minute.
okay,
Because you've exceeded your time.
okay. So the staff parked over here. There wasn't parking over here. This does not show that Mr. McAfee's house is right here, right at the property line. So the reason that we were requesting that there be a fence, at least partway down, is to protect him because it's very, very close. I talked to Mr. Lutz, who's on the other side, and his only request was that the fence that is on the other side, on the south side, has had a fire at some point. It's dilapidated, and he would really appreciate that being replaced and repaired. But he doesn't see the need for having a fence that runs all the way down to Oliver. The other thing that we wanted to ask is that, Joshua, maybe you would consider talking to Stephanie Silwell at the MABCD about changing the address there to an Oliver Street address so that people can find it easier. We have a lot of trucks and we have a lot of people that come in looking for that property, and they just drive right and around and around and around the lakes until somebody goes down and says, you're not gonna find it. The numbers are not gonna change.
Right.
They're out on Oliver.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Falke.
Okay, other than that, we welcome you to the neighborhood and we're looking forward to it being a much nicer place.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Hi, Steve Falke, 3 Crestview Lakes Estates. I'm the HOA president. Joshua, this is my first meeting with you. Welcome to the neighborhood. And
Sir, you
as
need to
Julie
address your comments to us.
Steve?
Yep.
Yeah, stay with your comments to the commission.
Gotcha.
We need to hear what you're having to say.
The other thing is, the main comment is in the backyard, there's a chain link fence across the west side of the backyard. I think that fence is fine. There's quite a bit of tree line and screening there. But if in the future something should increase in that area, then we might consider a wood fence necessary. But for now, the biggest part of the fencing in the backyard is that south side that has been damaged prior. So,
Mr. Falke, are there any HOA covenants that require that fencing to be maintained? It's not related to the code.
it's not related to any HOA covenants.
Okay. So that's really then just a neighbor.
It's
neighbor.
just a neighborly thing.
Understood, thank you.
That's all I have.
All right,
I'll stick
thank you,
for
Mr.
questions.
Falke. Any other questions for the speaker from the commission? Seeing none, thank you.
Thanks.
Next speaker? Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public comment. I will bring the applicant back up. Do you have any rebuttals or anything that you want to add? You will have up to 2 minutes, but before I get there, Mr. McKay, did you have a question for the last speaker? First, okay, then we'll go forward with the rebuttal. Did you have anything you wanted to add related to the 2 speakers?
No, sir. It's unfortunate we met under these circumstances. I live all the way in Newton, so I never introduced myself. I did meet Mr. Lutz and Mr. McAfee. And so, again, I want to be a good neighbor. If a fence is recommended to make me a good neighbor, I'm happy to do that at my cost.
Okay. I know that's what the DAB recommended, was that solid screening along the north property line, and you're in agreement with that.
Yes, so by solid screening, currently there is a fence. Mr. McAfee has a chain fence, and then he has a concrete fence to the end of his house. Are we replacing the entire stretch with a wood fence? There is a fence currently.
I don't know what the exact language was from the DAB. Do we know?
It was for a screening fence on the north side, so that would be a wood fence.
A wood fence?
Yes, sir.
Copy.
Or solid, it could be vinyl, as long as it's solid, correct? It
Vinyl.
could be concrete,
Yeah, it could be concrete. What are other building materials?
so solid screening. Okay. Thank you, Josh. I'm not going to try and say your last name again. I probably butchered it the last time, so I apologize.
No worries.
Thank you. Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. I believe we'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner McKay.
This is a question to staff. A number of years ago, this piece of property was very controversial, and they even formed their own association. Did they not?
There were properties down right at the corner of 21st and Oliver, the first two properties on the west side of Oliver, north of 21st Street, had a zone change that was very controversial. It did not include this one, though.
And it was called the Northeast Neighborhood Group.
Yeah,
I thought it went up to 25th Street, Oliver over the hillside.
yes, the northeast plan that is with this is 21st to 29th Oliver to Hillside. And in that plan, it identifies
But wouldn't this be included in that?
Yes, it is, and we did a review of that plan.
Is this usage allowed under those restrictions?
Yes, it is.
Because I know it's what neighborhood retail or neighborhood offices, the maximum that you could put in there.
Yes, no, this would be allowed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dool. Your mic, please. Use your mic.
Yeah, excuse me. I may have missed it, but the application states group residence. The applicant said that the residents are going to be retired elderly people. Is there any state or local approval required for the specific type of occupancy that he's going to have here? Is there anything that would preclude him from making a youth group home out of this or court-placed residents in there?
I believe he'll be seeking a license through the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Services because he indicated it would be a Home Plus group home. So if it's for the Aging and Disability Services, I would assume it would be for a specific demographic.
Can we make that a requirement of our action on this?
I will defer to law on whether that can be considered a condition of approval.
Because, Mr. Dool, to your point, a group residence could be something other than a Home Plus, which is what you were getting at. So I guess the question to law is, can we restrict this group residence to a Home Plus type facility?
I would.
Hold on.
While law's conferring, I would also like to point out, this is Scott Wadle from the Planning Department, that daycare is a use that we've seen, a conversation that we've had recently about changes to zoning code. I just want to reiterate that if this is approved today, it would not authorize a daycare to operate there. There would have to be another zoning action that would need to take place.
But the staff has checked to make sure that this use can be done under the present Northeast neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now the question is, can we restrict it to just use for what the applicant intended during his testimony versus any other use like Mr. Dool referred to?
Legal would suggest that you do not forbid it, because if he changes his mind and wishes to proceed under a different basis, then he would have to file another conditional use case for a daycare or a youth facility or something like that. So legal would say that it's better to just not prohibit and take away his right to change his mind and reconsider what he wants to use his property for. But he would have to file another conditional use case for whatever it is if he were to decide to do that. Today, we would only be granting him use for the sole use of a Home Plus care, but we're not gonna take any other rights away.
Right, because the way I read the definition of Home Plus, it's who need personal care or supervised nursing care to help with limitations and activities of daily living. It doesn't really address any of the other concerns that Mr. Dool had. So it is fairly limited in scope.
So I'm good with that.
Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner Aldridge? We're having a lot of side conversations during these meetings, and I'd ask you to kind of keep them to a very low volume so that everyone can hear. Commissioner Aldrich.
Thank you. Several things have been brought up here that the applicant is willing to do. But I think like with the trash deal, getting away from the dumpsters, especially with this amount of occupants that are gonna be at the house, I think that's unreasonable. The thing I understand about the hours pickup, but there's several trash hauling companies out there that you can get that would pick up at different hours. You can negotiate with them to pick up at a certain time. It doesn't have to be at those hours that are going to wind up disturbing the rest of the neighbors. I definitely understand and get that, but that can be worked out with the trash haulers and stuff. And I just think it's unreasonable to put down in here and when it's not required by any zoning regulations that we make that a part of that stipulation. I think he's going overboard right now on the fencing, but he's wanting to go above and beyond to be a good neighbor. But I just don't think that we need to tie him into that, especially on the trash hauling aspect of it.
Any other comments? Yes, legal.
I'd like to make a clarification because JR pointed out that the application request was for a group home residence limited, which also could apply to a sorority or fraternity and potentially some other limited use. Under those circumstances, given the definition of group homes limited, if it were the will of the board, you could limit it to that specific use in terms of for the adult hospice care type, but I wouldn't say that it would be an outright denial of something else.
So the approval for the conditional use for group residence limited, restricting it to a home plus group home would be suffice for a
Yes.
motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That would be appropriate.
Commissioner Warren.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request as presented by staff with the adding of a property line fence, at least to cover to the frontage of the neighbor to the north, to give screening to that point, and also to allow them to use commercial traffic trash, but regulate the hours to fall after 7 a.m. or before 7 p.m. Give them that 12-hour stretch so they could do that. They should be able to find a company that would do that.
Second.
So with the additional discussion about limiting the group residence limited to home plus group restriction, are you okay with that, or
No, I'm not.
you're not okay with that?
This is the way the staff's got it now, without any additional restrictions.
I just want to make sure everybody was tracking with what's been talked about.
So
we have a second to your motion, correct? And that was who? Commissioner High and Commissioner McKay. More discussion, Commissioner Duell.
So am I to understand that Group Home Plus is not part of this application?
Correct.
We'd have to add it if we wanted to.
Correct. Right now, it's not part of the motion. If you wanted to add that, you can make a substitute motion.
Just for clarification, the motion would allow what the applicant applied for, which is a group residence. The
Correct.
current motion does not restrict it to just a home plus facility.
Correct. Correct. If he wanted to add that to it, he could. So far, I don't see that being added, so we'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously, because I heard no objections. Next item, 4.6. And Philip.
Give it a moment for the room to clear for a second. Good afternoon, Philip Ziebenberger with planning staff. Conditional use 2025-141 is a conditional use request for a recreational vehicle campground On a property zone rural residential, the property is yes, sir.
Hold on. Yes, you're on 4.6, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was jumping ahead.
Nope, better to clarify, make sure I'm not derailing here. So again, the property is zoned rural residential. It's 4.86 acres in size. It's on the west side of South 159th Street East and just a little bit north of East 63rd Street South with the address of 6255 South 159th Street East. The applicant is requesting the conditional use to operate an RV campground. If you want to go to the site plan, please. You can see that the property is oblong in shape. It's kind of narrow and long. The applicant is intending to, it has a circle drive. This is the applicant's residence. To have parking over here, have some RV on the north side of the property, and then here in the back, they would extend the driveway with a circle turnaround and have some RV parking in the back as well. The RV campground classification in the zoning code does allow for tent camping as well, and they propose that it could be an option here if they wanted to, kind of in the middle of the circle drive. The applicant's lagoon is in the back. In conversation with the applicant, they have been in conversation with MABCD of possible required improvements to the lagoon to allow for solid waste to be adequately taken care of on site and done so in an appropriate manner. The UZC defines an RV campground as allowing for RVs to be temporarily and transiently located on the site. And again, it can be used for tent camping as well. The driveways and circulation path in all parking stalls need to be constructed of an all-weather surface. That's essentially a certain thickness of gravel. So any extension of it to the back would have to follow that same standard. It also requires solid screening of non-residential uses where abutting residential zoning districts. All the properties around, at least in Sedgwick County, are zoned rural residential. It is likely that the ones across 159th Street East in Butler County are zoned residential just based on the land use. So there'd be a requirement of a solid screening fence along the three sides and some level of screening along the front, at least where the RVs are parked. You can't obviously screen the driveway, and you would have to be mindful of the height of the screening fence down to 3 feet so that you're not blocking any sight lines of vehicles leaving the property as well. As I mentioned, all the properties on the north, west, and south are zoned rural residential in Sedgwick County and are developed with large lot single-family residential uses. Property to the east is in Butler County. It is developed with a large lot single-family residential use as well. Property is not platted. My understanding is that platting is not required for the use unless they have to pull a commercial building permit, and then platting would be required at that time, depending on how they want to develop the site in the future. A commercial building permit may or may not be required, but that's something they'd work with MABCD. Access to the site is off of South 159th Street East, which is a paved county arterial street with open ditches. Water is provided by Sedgwick County Rural Water District number 3. Sewers provided on site. Improvements and extensions of additional water and sewer infrastructure may be required. The comprehensive plan identifies the site as rural in the rural area. If you want to go to a land use map, this is described in the community investments plan as land outside the 2035 urban growth areas of Wichita and the small cities. Agricultural uses, rural-based businesses, and large lot residential exurban subdivisions likely will be developed in this area. Such development should occur in accordance with the urban fringe policy. That's basically related to transportation improvements and really doesn't apply to this application. Staff's opinion is that the proposed use would introduce a sizable commercial use amid an established low-density residential area where access would be off of a gravel road and not a paved arterial. The requested conditional use is not in conformance with the locational guidelines of the community investments plan. A general land use compatibility guideline states high-intensity development should be discouraged from locating in areas of existing low-intensity development, particularly established low-density residential areas. And then a rural area compatibility guideline states industrial and commercial uses in rural areas should be separate and distinct from low-intensity land uses and should provide appropriate screening and buffering to ensure compatibility among land uses. The proposed land use is a commercial operation outside the parameters of a business that is considered a rural home occupation. That is why it is requiring the conditional use application. It would be not separate or distinct from lower intensity uses, rather it'd be in the middle of an established low density residential area. So based on this information, staff is recommending denial. Based on the findings of the staff report, I'll just highlight several of them. Essentially, they all kind of follow what I've described here with a review of the comprehensive plan. The property is zoned rural residential. It's developed with single-family use and some agricultural uses, including livestock. It can continue to operate without, in addition to some rural home-based occupations as defined in the zoning code. Removal of the restrictions could have detrimental impacts on the residential area around with noise, traffic, visual aesthetics as well. I have heard, as we mentioned, it's not in conformance with the comprehensive plan. And I have heard from some residents nearby who bought the property. So there has been some public opposition. Your staff report also includes a screenshot the applicant sent to me of his conversation with a neighbor who also vets it, who's also in support of the application. So there's a little bit of both and. As always with the denial recommendation, if the Planning Commission were to recommend approval, staff included some conditions for you to consider. They're on the bottom of page 4. That would include all waste, including household and sewage disposal, shall be done per applicable codes. Water service, including private well and or rural water district, should be provided in compliance with all applicable codes. Access to this site shall meet service drive code requirements and any other code requirement. The RV campground shall be developed and maintained in substantial compliance with the approved site plan. All improvements and operation of the RV campground shall be in compliance with all local, state, and federal regulations. And as always with conditional uses, if they're found to be not in compliance with these conditions, that it could be terminated through the due process of how that would work. So let's go through some site photos real quick. This is looking west at the site from South 159th Street East. This is the applicant's dwelling and his shop. You can see this is that circle drive on the front end of the property. Next picture, please. This is a little closer up view of the applicant's residence and shop. Next picture, please. This is looking northeast. 159th Street is here. Here's a neighbor's house and their property. This is the portion of the property that some of the RVs would be parked on, and if approved, this fence would have to be upgraded to a solid screening fence. Next picture, please. This is looking northwest along that same property line, just towards the rear portion of the properties. Next picture. This is looking west. This is the applicant's lagoon and the rear portion of their property. Next picture. This is on the south portion of the property looking west. This larger building that you see here is on a neighboring property. It is their property. These are the applicant's structures. This area here would be expanded into RV parking as well. Again, solid screening would be required, and this is where the expanded driveway would be located. Next picture. This is along the south portion of the property looking southeast. This is a neighbor property over here. This would have to be upgraded to a solid screening fence. Next picture. This is looking southeast. This is the one side of the circle drive. This was indicated for a parking area, and 159th Street is out on the front. Next picture. This is kind of mid-site looking to the southeast center part of the site. The tent camping was indicated in this central area. Next picture. And this is from 159th Street looking east. This property is the one in Butler County that was developed with a large residential use as well. Next picture. This is 159th Street in front. This is looking to the northeast. This, again, property is in Butler County. Again, another residential property. Next picture. And this is on 159th. You would go up and then turn left to get into the property. This is looking west at the property that is south of the site. Next picture, please. I'll leave this up here for public comment. The applicant can address, have the slides, but this was submitted by one of the neighbors, and they can discuss this, so it's not necessarily a staff thing, and I can stand for questions that you might have.
Thank you, Philip. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none. Thank you, Philip. Nice job. We'll now ask the applicant, agent, owner to come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, your role, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
My name's Adam Drome. I live at 6255 South 159th Street East. I own the property itself. As staff may or may not know, there's other residential businesses in that area, especially within a half-mile distance radius. Slide that was before, across the street is a trucking company. They have trucks that come in and out. Within 1,000 feet, there is a salvage yard to the north of us that have car carriers that come in and out. Within another half mile of that, there is on the Butler County side what's known as Dirt Road Automotive and Diesel, which has several tow trucks and automotive parts distributors running up and down the highway or 159th on a daily basis. As far as improvements to the property, we are adding a 6-foot tall privacy fence. It's already in place. It's being quoted out currently from a private contractor. Lagoon and waste handling procedures will follow county code as the property does currently. It's one of the very few properties in Sedgwick County that is parallel fed 400 amps. So it leaves, currently there's 200 amps in the shop and 200 amps for the house. That's one of the very few that Chris has approved. And that was one of the first ones. As far as any other improvements on the property, most of the small structures are getting moved to the north side of the fence. So it opens up the whole south side for improvements and driveways. Couple of concerns that was addressed in the packet was security and that type of stuff. Most RV places have to run background checks. I currently own 2 fifth wheels now, so I know what the requirement is when you go into a park. So criminals can't just show up, felons can't show up. There is background checks done on most individuals in a park, which I have no problem doing. As far as trash and other services go, right now it's on private well. I have talked with the Rural Water District about hooking up to the rural water as subsidiary. There's already commercial trash service on site for my current business, and it gets dumped once a week. Another concern was hearing generators run at night. That wouldn't be allowed. 50 amp services would be provided. I've been in phone contact with REA out of Butler County to bring in electric so that there would be no noise to the public, along with privacy fence, to keep the impact at a minimum. If you've got any other questions, I'll take them.
Thank you, Mr. Drone. Staff indicates that all the parking stalls should be constructed of an all-weather surface. How many stalls are you planning to equip that way?
That was a determination factor on after the approval would or would not be denied, talking with the MABCD about allowable use as to how many slots could be used for like an M65 Lagoon. That would determine on parking stalls. So if you go off a measurement, there should be able to have at least 8 stalls on the south side out of rock.
So the number of stalls are determined by the size of the lagoon.
Well, it would be determined on the size of, the key factor in all this is the lagoon size would determine the exact number of spots available. As far as tent camping would go, which is talking with Philip out on site. That would be more or less for the overflow parking, which is what you had just asked. We would probably be looking at least 9 spots that could be considered overflow spots.
Right, but for RVs themselves, how many are we thinking?
For RVs themselves, we'd probably be looking at least 20,
20, okay,
20 to 25.
thank you. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yes, sir, you mentioned the possibility of hooking up to the rural water district.
Yes, sir.
Have you checked on the cost of that?
Yes, sir, I have.
How, is it, I mean, can they do it?
Yes, they can.
Yeah, because I didn't know how far away they would be with their connection that you'd have to run your line to.
So technically, the rural water line is on the front edge of the property. I don't know how to get into the screen. If we can find an overlay. Philip, can we get an overlay of that?
The over.
Yep. The very front edge of the property, my front fence is set 40 feet back, when technically there's only a 30 feet right of way, because I'm off of the water line itself. The water line runs right in front of the property.
Oh, that's good.
When they was out 2 weeks ago and marked the property for a different project going on, they said the average cost was $4,000 and it takes about 60 days to get hooked up.
Sir, and also in the event that that the commission decides to approve this, there's alternative recommendations from staff. There's 4 of them. Do you agree with all those recommendations?
I have no issues at all putting up a privacy fence, which, like I mentioned earlier to the commission, that's already in the process of doing now. I'm waiting on the quotes to come back. All the wastewater and household sewage would have to be followed by the county guidelines. The current lagoon is the current size, so we would have to enlarge it for sure. It would probably have to go to an M65.
Okay, so you would support the recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Commissioner Williams Bay.
Point out on the map the other commercial businesses you said were in the area.
So
use the mouse pointer.
Can you
Mr.
zoom it
Drone?
back out?
Yep.
Yeah, use the mouse pointer there. Thank you.
So right there is M&J Trucking. He is a livestock hauler. I've got nothing against any of them. It's just another business in the area. There is a large salvage yard in this area here that car haulers come in and out of pretty regularly. At one time, this area was a commercial ostrich farm. They backed off during COVID because they could not get slaughter dates. I just learned this morning that there's a daycare somewhere up off of this road here. But right down at the end of this cul-de-sac, right where the arrow's at, is a commercial automotive shop that has tow trucks and delivery trucks coming in and out of it regularly.
Thank you.
Commissioner Klotz.
Hi, what is the average length of stay do you anticipate?
Sorry.
What's the average length of stay do you anticipate your campers having?
Average length of stay, it just depends on the travelers, ma'am. Some, I wouldn't want to see stay for extended periods of times. But like I know personally, I've seen people come in and then trucks break down and they're stuck until the trucks get repaired.
Do you plan on advertising online for campers, like Hip Camp
It-
or something like that?
So most places have like Good Sam memberships where you can advertise with them and say, hey, this is a potential campground. Most of the time you can do it through Google. So technically, yes, it would be an online advertisement.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Miles.
So you mentioned the background checks. That is not a common practice for short term, like staying in overnight or staying a couple of nights. And I'm not finished. That's not a common practice. So if that's something that you're going to implement, that's really a practice that's pretty common for long-term stays at RV parks. So is your intention really to have people stay here long-term? Because there's a lot of difference between somebody spending a night or so, or having people stay, you know, for 6 months or whatever. And, you know, as far as background checks go for short-term people, again, that's not a common practice. And I'm just, are you gonna do a background check on everybody that's gonna stay in this park?
It wouldn't be intentional for if somebody was there for 1 or 2 nights to do a background check, but if they was there for, say, like a week, then yes, a background check would be implemented, ma'am.
Any more questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Drone.
Yep.
Now we'll open up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Sure, my name is Chris Straight, and I'm at 6231 South, 159th Street East. They're in Rose Hill. My husband and I have lived in our home for 33 years. Our bedroom window is 100 feet from the proposed RV park, which is the photo that was up there, so you can see exactly how close that is. I am here speaking for my family and the 22 neighbors and daycare within 1,000 feet from the proposed RV park, all of which will be sending in protest tomorrow. We protest the RV park for the following. All adjacent home owners have invested in stable housing. Nearby properties are used for single-family dwellings, land for cattle, horses, and cropped fields. An RV park is not compatible with the surrounding land uses. The transit RV owner may not have the same investment in the community as a homeowner, causing deterioration of the neighborhood. There would be overcrowding of traffic on our narrow dirt road. The road is too narrow for a car and RV to pass safely without one moving into the ditch area. This would be hazardous for local traffic, pedestrians, and mailboxes. The proposed RV park has one driveway that would be used for both entrance and exit, putting even more strain on the road. A letter was submitted from Gypsum Township stating the inability to keep up with the demands of the RV traffic. Toxic odors from improper waste will affect the surrounding properties, along with the strain and contamination of water resources and concerns of proper trash disposal. Noise pollution from generators, large number of pets, mass gatherings of campground guests, and are not compatible with our quiet country setting that our neighborhood currently is. What parking light would be used? Will it be shining in neighboring windows all night long? The continuing change of campers would give us an uneasy feeling of security and privacy for the neighborhood. For the reasons we ask that you deny the application and protect the integrity of our rural residential community. If you do move forward with the rezoning, here are a few things we would greatly appreciate you taking the time to consider. No large park sign in the neighborhood, limit the number of days campers can stay, strict lagoon or septic regulations, noise protectors or quiet times, on-site security, neighboring properties protected from hazardous or toxic odors, lighting that is fully shielded or possibly controls that can be shut off at night, limit the number of pets per RV, no RVs on the north side where our bedroom window is 100 feet away, an 8-foot tall fence to help control noise, trash, and security to adjacent neighbors. Lastly, a solution for RV owners coming to the area is to utilize the other 15 RV parks that are within 20 miles or less of Rose Hill. Thank you for the opportunity today.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, ma'am. Next speaker? Next speaker? Seeing no more, we'll bring it back to the applicant for a rebuttal. If there's anything you want to add or answer?
As far as...
You'll have 2 minutes.
As far as other businesses not in the area, they're there. They're just not being brought up. You can see on plot maps that businesses are in the area. As far as the road not being wide enough, I travel in and out of there with the truck and trailer. The neighbors travel in and out of their semis. So I don't see where a public road use is such a concern for anybody, because they are developing the north end of 159th right now. So there is construction trucks running up and down that road also. Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. We'll bring it back to the commission for Discussion, Commissioner Mader.
Question for staff. Is there a point in licensing of these where you limit the time of stay? I mean, I personally, from having used RV parks, there's a big difference between where they're my majority of long-term stay, 6 months or a year in town for a construction job or such, versus overnight projects. Is there any delineation in the code between those two?
In terms of zoning, it's an RV park is an RV park. There's nothing in the zoning code that delineates long-term or short-term stay.
Then I would have a question for the applicant, please.
Okay.
With what I just said about long-term versus short-term, are you willing to put a time stay on, or would that completely ruin your business model?
It could partially hurt half the business model, sir. I'm not 100% sure because we've not advertised, so we don't know what like I said, I own 2 rigs currently, so I know how most RV parks work. And I will agree, some guys come in for construction and they're there for 6 to 8 weeks and then they're gone to another city. So it really determines on the type of end user per se as to what's allowed to even come in. Thank you.
Question I have for staff, just to be clear, the adjacent zoning and land use, we identified north, south, and west as all rural residential, but the east is unknown. Is that because the Butler County line?
Yes, sir. And I apologize, I just didn't deep dive into
That's
Butler
fine.
County zoning code.
Yeah, I struggle to see how anyone who moved out here, knowing that it was rural residential, would expect to have a 20 to 25 unit campground as their neighbor. So with that, I make a motion that we deny the request.
Second.
Seeing no other motions, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the denial, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, we'll have to do a roll call vote. Mr. Wadle?
Yes, sir. So this is
To deny. If you're in favor of the denial, say yay.
Yes, good clarification. So if you're in favor of the motion to deny, please say yay. So Fry,
Yay.
Mader, McKay, Dool,
No.
Bill Johnson is absent. Hai, Nix,
Nay.
Kluntz, Warren, Joe Johnson,
Nay.
Miles, Zimbelman, Aldrich,
No.
Williams Bay,
8-5. I show 8-5 opposing it, the denial. Or,
I'm looking for clarification on what Mr.
so I have 5 yays to deny, 8.
Sir, my count was 6 to 7.
Yeah.
I had those in favor of the motion. I had Fry, Mader, Klontz, Miles, Zimbelman, Aldrich, not Aldrich, Williams Bay.
So 5.
Williams Bay was nay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion fails.
5
So
to 8.
Now we need a new motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the request based on the alternative staff recommendations 1 through 4.
Second.
We have a motion to approve to the alternative findings of the staff and with the staff conditional use with the second by Commissioner McKay.
And Mr. Aldrich, could you adopt alternative findings? Could you make a few statements
Mr. Y?
that since staff recommended denial,
Right.
based on the golden factors, context,
Well,
zoning in the
yeah,
area?
sure, I mean, based on everything the applicant was saying, I thought it made total sense, and he's gonna, sound like to me, he's gonna go above and beyond to help protect his neighbors and stuff, and with looking at some of the surrounding businesses that are currently operating right now, whether they're, within code or not. I don't know about that, but I just think that it would, what he's wanting to do would be compatible with the area.
Discussion. We have a second, correct? The second was, who was the second? I forget. Was it McKay? Commissioner McKay? All right, discussion. Who had their hand raised? Commissioner Mader?
Kind of back to what I'd been saying before, and I think we have a need for more RV parks closer to town for people who come to visit. But without a stipulation on length of stay, I'm afraid we could be looking at a multifamily housing project and in a neighborhood where it's really not suitable. So I'm gonna have to stay with my vote against it, and that's just part of my thought process.
Okay. I see another hand raised. Seeing none, we'll call for a roll call vote. And this would be to approve the alternative motion with the additional staff recommendations. So if you're in favor of the alternative motion, say aye to approve, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Fry?
Nay.
Mader? McKay?
Yes.
Dool?
Nay.
Bill Johnson is absent. Hi. Nix?
Nay.
Cluntz? Warren? Joe Johnson? Miles? Zimbelman? Aldrich?
Yes.
Williams Bay?
I can count very well.
I've got 5-8, so.
So we
motion
need
fails.
another motion to either address some of the concerns that the nays have. Correct?
Can we revisit the first motion? Can we remake that motion, or is it
Well, I
dead
think
at
it'd
this
have to be
time?
revised,
At this point, a new motion needs to be made.
and it has to be slightly different than the original motion.
Can we limit the number of trailers that were RVs that we can allow and the number of days?
So this is not I guess it is a conditional use request, so I suppose we could add in language that would put in more specific restrictions.
What,
Hold on, we got multiple conversations going on, please.
what would?
Hold on. We're gonna address these one at a time. Commissioner Warren had his hand raised first.
I'm gonna make an attempt at compromise, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve with all the stipulations of the last motion to approve, with the exception that a limit of 6 months for any tenant and again, a given year period,
Would that be no longer than 6
no
months?
longer than 6 months.
Is there a, is there a break between stays that would be in it? So if I'm there for 6 months and I take it off property for an hour, can I come back for another 6 months?
That'd have to be determined on how long we want to make that.
It's part of your motion.
Part of my, you could only, 6 months in a 12-month period, he'd have to be gone for 6 months before he could come back and
Okay,
restay.
does everybody understand the motion? So it'd be the same motion that we just had, but limiting the stay to no more than 6 months in a 12-month timeframe.
Can I ask for an alternative motion? to
You can ask
defer?
if he wants to have a friendly amendment to his motion. Well, yeah, I need a second first.
Well, I have a clarification from legal first. Is that legal? Can we do that?
Yeah, because it's a conditional use, we can add.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, so now we have a second, so Commissioner Mader.
Again, back at discussion, because of the questions about if you move it off a day, does that constitute your new stay? I would like to, for us to discuss maybe deferring this and have the applicant work with staff as some language that could make the commission happy on how we limit lengths of stay, so we don't turn it into a long-term housing project.
Well, hold on, that wasn't a motion, that was just discussion. It wasn't a substitute, it was just discussion. Commissioner Dool had his hand first.
Well, I would make a motion to the extent of your comment there. My question, though, on this, and it's for staff, I think, is we start putting restrictions about how many people can be in there and how long they're going to stay there. Realistically, is there anybody that's ever going to enforce that?
So, J.R. Cox, Metropolitan Planning, there will be an attempt to enforce it, Commissioner Dool, but if you're asking for an opinion, I think it would be very difficult. But yes, if some condition is put in and there's an allegation that it's being violated, there would be an attempt to enforce it.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a substitute motion that we approve based on a maximum of 10 RVs allowed at any given time.
With no length of stay limitation, because that was the last motion.
Well, again,
Different-
I think the length of stay, I mean, honestly, I'd like to see a length of stay of a maximum of 3 days, but I don't think that's gonna fly, so.
Do we have a second for Commissioner Miles' motion? Seeing none, we'll go back to the last motion and discussion on it, which was no longer, sir, this is discussion for the commission, no more than 6 months in a 12-month time frame. Question, discussion related to that motion, which was properly seconded. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I'm going to call for a vote. Roll call vote, please. And this would be in favor of the substitute motion. Say aye.
Yes, sir.
Could you repeat the motion?
Chuck, do you want to?
It was to approve, subject to the conditions in the staff report, in addition to limiting a stay to 6 months within a 12-month period of time.
No more than 6 months in a 12-month time frame. Okay.
Fry?
If you're in favor of this, say yes.
Fry?
Nay.
Mader? McKay?
Yes.
Dool?
No.
Bill Johnson is absent. Hi. Nix?
No.
Cluntz? Warren? Joe Johnson?
Yes.
Miles?
No.
Zimbelman? Aldrich?
Yes.
Williams Bay? I'm sorry, sir, was that a yay or nay?
Hey.
Thank you.
The motion denied. 5-8. Looking for guidance, folks.
Can we make a motion to defer and allow staff and applicant to maybe come up with some better language? Because that way it's not acted
Sure.
on today, but maybe we work something out we can work on. I'd like to make a motion to defer.
Second.
So hold on, we need to put it, hold on, time out. We need to put a date on it.
I'd like to make a motion to defer till our next meeting, whenever that might be.
So how many meetings?
Well, we have
So
December 4th is the
We have a
next
meeting
one.
December 4th and December 18th.
18th. So December 4th, the information would have to be sent out.
Yeah, so it's gonna be looking
in
at
a
December
week.
18th.
So we'd be sending out information the week of Thanksgiving. That would give staff about a week to work with the applicant.
So if you could,
It's up to you. I'm
you
just
could amend
providing
your motion
objective
to December
information.
18th.
Have we asked the applicant if he will agree to it before we start making motions?
Well, at this point, we've gotten, he is not making any progress unless he agrees to meet with them and discuss it, so.
Yeah, but the problem that I'm having is just based on these votes, it's, you went from one extreme to the next. We tried to compromise here, and it seemed like everybody was on a compromise by putting a time limit of 6 months, and then that turnaround still fell. So I don't know what good, just deferring it. What are you looking to get out of that deferral that we haven't already talked about here?
a chance to not negotiate this here at the table and let it be done by staff and the applicant?
But that's what we
'Cause
do.
we've tried here several times and we seem to be, as you're saying, getting nowhere. So if the applicant can't live with any of the things we're talking about, then he'll withdraw. And if he thinks he can bring something back better that we'll accept, then he'll bring it back that we'll accept.
Meanwhile, it's costing him money and time.
That's unfortunate. Yes, it is, but I don't know what we can do about that at this point since we can't agree, and trying to make sausage here is getting difficult.
So we have a
Again,
motion to defer till the,
to defer till the 18th.
we have a motion to defer to the 18th. We have a second from Commissioner Duell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. We'll hear it again on the 18th, or not. All right, next item is 4.7. I know. This is, I don't believe there was any public comment that wanted to hear on this. No one from the commission spoke to it. No one from the public raised their hand. But there was an issue in the staff report regarding utility easement. So that's why I asked Brad to present. So I don't know that we have to hear all of it, but maybe just that portion of it related to the utility easement and public works concern.
Correct. I'll keep it at a very high level. Brad Etherly, with MAPD, discussing CUP 2025 -00036. Yeah. So the small change to the CUP drawing basically is because of the vacation that was in conjunction with this case, and the setbacks that are being requested for parcel 1 and parcel 5. The requests are that originally the request was that there would be a 20-foot setback along East Kellogg Drive and a 10-foot setback for parcel 1 and parcel 5 along Wildcat Lane. But because of the vacation case that's going forward, discussions with Public Works and Utilities, there's been a slight change. I have put the new drawing, a portion of the new drawing in front of you so that you can see that it does start in the northeast corner of parcel 1 at 20 feet, and then it kind of slants down to about 30 feet, about midway through, and is 30 feet from the rest of that portion to Wildcat Lane, and then the 10-foot setback along Wildcat Lane. And then, of course, the only other thing is that the drawing is incorporating that portion of the vacated right-of-way. And then the other request is to remove the architectural controls. Just so you know, we did submit all of this to the neighbors that have also abided by those architectural controls, and we did not hear from any of them. So they don't seem to have any concerns about that. So unless there's any specific questions regarding any of the other parts of the case, I can stand for any of those questions.
Okay.
And we do recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Brad? Seeing none, thank you. I don't know if the applicant is present or not. Are they? Thank you. Name and address for the record. You'll have up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, Brian Lindeback, MKC Engineering, 411 North Webb Road, on behalf of the owner and applicant. We've worked with staff, engineering staff. We got everything worked out, and we've got some special language on the CUP, and I think we're ready for an approval.
Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any members of the public present that wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second, first, the motion was approved by, motion was made by Commissioner Miles with the second by Commissioner Zimmelman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I just.
I'm sorry.
So,
We
yes,
have-
Mr. Chairman, just a quick clarification question. So Brad, what language has changed? I'm sorry to
It
have
was
to ask
related to
this.
utility easement, yeah.
I can speak to that just to keep it quick and we added language on item 4. It states that no adjustments shall be made to the setbacks along Kellogg Drive on parcel 1 without written consent from Public Works and Utility Department. And then we placed that same note right below the text of that building setback so that no one could miss it when they're doing reviews of plans.
Okay, and I just want to follow up and say, this has not been distributed in writing. This is only being provided verbally here at today's meeting, is that right?
It's been distributed to staff in an email.
Okay, but to the commissioners is my, so,
Sure.
and I just want to clarify then, the motion that's on the table and being considered does include that text?
Language.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you much.
Okay, again, we called for a vote, we had yays, we had 1 abstention and 1 absent. Mr. Williams was out of the room when we did the vote and when we heard the case. I thought you abstained.
Well, I'm so okay, abstain from.
Okay, well, absent from the vote. So it was unanimous with 2 absentees, Commissioner McKay and Commissioner Williams-Bay. We clear? Okay. Next item, 411.
Can we get a reminder on the motion and the second on that?
The motion was,
I heard it was Ms. Miles.
it was Miles, but the second was Commissioner Zimbelman. All right, what happened if, oh, it's Philip. It's like, what happened to staff? Oh, it's Philip.
Ready? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Zone 2550 is a zone change request in the city from SF5 and LC to LI Limited Industrial District. The property is 365 acres in size. You can see it's on the west side of North Oliver between East 45th Street North and East 53rd Street North, and then kind of the angle that 254 and the railroad create on the west side of the property. The intent of the application is for future industrial development. There was no specified use regarding this. If it's rezoned to SF from SF5 and LC to LI, you can see that LI is at the corner of the arterial streets. This was done in the county a ways back, and so they were just rezoned. You can kind of see an example here where all 4 corners were done. It would go to LI. There would be a change in the development standards. For development on the site, there's a table that illustrates and delineates what those changes would be. Want to hone in on the compatibility standards. This affects both setbacks and height. The staff report identifies that the setback standards when abutting or across the street from residential zoning, so TF3 or more restrictive. You've got SF5 on the south side. You've got SF20 on the west side. Properties in Keachai and Bel Air are residentially zoned on those locations, so they apply there. And the height limit in those locations would be limited to 35 feet based on the compatibility standards as well. There's noise compatibility standards that are outlined. Essentially, it would limit the ability for the human voice or amplified music or amplified voice to be heard within 500 feet of the property line. When you think of industrial development, it might maybe be, if there's a yard of some kind where there's just overhead speakers with announcements or things, that would be an example where a noise compatibility would be applied to. Dumpsters or refuse collection has to be a minimum of 20 feet from a property line zone TF3 or more restrictive. So, considering all those same locations, that applies there as well. Screening and landscaping. Solid screening is required for non-residential uses when abutting across the street from residential zoning districts from TF3 or more restrictive. This is a minimum of the 6-foot fence. It would apply to the west, south, east, and north property lines, and depending on how the site is developed, likely this is going to be split up into multiple parcels. It would have to be platted before it's developed. And so it just kind of depends on, the south property lines along 45th Street, along Oliver, anything on the west side. So they would just have to follow the screening and landscaping standards. of the Unified Zoning Code as well as the Wichita Landscape Ordinance that would require a semblance of landscape buffering as well as landscape street yards, parking lot screening, parking lot trees, things of that nature. It has to adhere to lighting standards, which does not allow for any light poles to be greater than 15 feet within 200 feet of residential zoning. Anything farther than that has a standard that it can follow to allow for higher light poles. Of course, across the board, lights have to be directed downward and shielded to prohibit light trespass across the property line. There's a deep dive into the zoning code regarding allowable signage, depending on how the property is developed within the LI zoning district. I'm not going to go into the grave detail of what that'd be, keeping in mind that depending on how the site is broken up with parcels along different street frontages, if it is approved, these things might be modified slightly in terms of the number of signs and things like that. But that's just kind of an overview since it was a kind of a blanket zone change request that really didn't have a specific use. And that, you know, plating would be in the future, and how this would develop in the future would remain to be seen. The surrounding context, property to the north across East 53rd Street is in the city of Keachai. It's this property here. It is zoned A1 agriculture and developed with a single-family dwelling in an agricultural field. Properties to the east across Oliver are all in the city of Bel Air. There's a semblance of R4 residential districts, R6 residential, R1 residential, and then closer down here, there's a couple of properties that are C1 commercial, closer to 45th Street. The majority of those properties are either developed residentially, as you can see here. Some of these are platted for residential, they're not all developed yet. Properties up to the north here, it looks like a multifamily, almost like an assisted living type of facility, possibly, but it's a little bit more of a multifamily facility type of feel to it, and you'll see that in the pictures. Properties to the south are in the city of Wichita. The majority of this section over here is SF5 and is majority undeveloped. This parcel here is Stuckey Middle School. You do have a strip of LC zoning right here, and those are developed with duplexes. Property to the west is Sedgwick County. You have SF20 with a single family home. You have some conditional uses for a greenhouse as well as animal care general. And then of course you have the abutting K254 and Railroad corridor on the northwestern portion of the property. Due to the proximity of the existing low-density residential, especially across the street into the city of Bel Air, and then this very southeasterly side where there's the duplexes in the LC zoning, staff is recommending a protective overlay. In general, there would be a 300-foot buffer here and here that would allow the uses by right in limited commercial. So you have a step-down effect in terms of the intensity of uses. It also would require 1.5 times the landscaping along the street frontages, whether that's a landscape buffer, if it's the side of a property, or potentially a landscape street yard. You would have 1.5 times the landscaping on there. There's a ton of existing trees along the street frontages here. As you'll see in the pictures, existing trees can be used for that. And then 1/2 of those trees for the landscaping requirement in this L-shaped area would have to be evergreen. Off-site and billboard signs would be prohibited along East 45th and North Oliver. And that's about the gist of the PO. And we can go over that again when it comes later on in the report. East 45th Street is a 2-lane arterial with open ditches and no sidewalks. Any future access points along there would have to follow Wichita's access management standards and would be identified during the time of platting. I looked up, there are no identified improvements for East 45th Street in terms of the CIP in the future. So as of now, it's a 2-lane road. East 53rd Street is a paved 2-lane arterial with open ditches and no sidewalks. The south portion of the right-of-way is in unincorporated Sedgwick County. The north portion is in the city of Keachai. Access points along 53rd into the site would have to follow Sedgwick County's access management standards. North Oliver is a paved 2-lane arterial with open ditches. It is completely within the city of Bel Air. Future access points and any future improvements to Bel Air that aren't required at the time of platting would be the decision of the city of Bel Air, and they would have to determine access points based on the city of Bel Air standards. If you go to the land use plan, please. The site is classified, the majority of the west side being for new residential. If you get really towards the end of what that description talks about, it does state that pockets of industrial uses could be developed with proximity to other industrial uses, highway, rail, and airport. So we find that it's in this overall site, it's in partial conformance because that only applies to this area, where you do have the access to highway, K254 at 45th and Hillside, access to rail, and then there's industrial zone property kind of to the southwest in a close proximity. The eastern portion of the property is described for agricultural and vacant, which essentially looks for pockets of low-density residential without a full range of municipal services. Though the zone change is not in conformance with that, given the proximity to Wichita, Bel Air, Keachai, Oliver's, and Arterial, the likelihood of this not developing out in some way, shape, and form other than low-density residential without municipal services is probably unlikely. And so that's where staff comes up with a recommended protective overlay to limit the intensity of uses where closest to the low-density residential and the school property to the south. I'll just do a very brief overview of the locational guidelines. This is where we really more support our recommendation for approval with the protective overlay. Essentially, that's very similar to what I described before, proximity to highway, rail, and other industrial uses, industrial development on the property is appropriate, especially on the western portion of the site, but the locational guidelines do support a lesser intensity uses and additional buffering and screening along the eastern portion of the site where it's closer to lower intensity uses. So staff is recommending approval subject to the protective overlay. I'll go over that again. The protective overlay details in terms of feet, but I'll generally describe it. A 300-foot strip here and a 300-foot strip here, so that's 300 feet deep into the site. That all use is permitted by right in limited commercial. This does not include residential because the base zoning would be limited industrial and residential uses are not allowed. So in terms of multifamily, it would not allow that. It would just allow the commercial uses that would be allowed in limited commercial. One of the things we decided on for the buffer on the south was you have the Stuckey Middle School property. And then as we were discussing this protective overlay with the applicant, making them aware this is where staff was headed, the representative from Koch Industries actually said, well, hey, there's another school that owns the property next to Stuckey Middle School. Though there's not a school on it yet, if you're wanting to buffer from the school, well, let's actually extend the length of that buffer along 45th Street. So it was actually Koch Industries who wanted to extend the restriction along 45th Street in terms of the uses. We talked about the landscaping again, 1.5 times that in this area here, half of those would have to be evergreen trees. Existing trees can be utilized if they're not taken out during development. Outside or billboard signs are not allowed on 45th or Oliver. And then there's the transfer title, and any changes to the PO would have to come through the Planning Commission as an amendment. This is based on the golden factors that are identified in your staff report. I have heard some comments regarding this. Just with concerns of intensity. This went to the District Advisory Board for District 1 last week. There was no public comment against this at District 1, and they recommended approval with the protective overlay as recommended by staff unanimously. And I can go through the site photos. Just so for your perspective, I'm going to be looking north. We're going to go this way. We're going to look into the site along Oliver, and then we're going to backtrack. So this is on the western portion of the property. This is one of the properties to the west of the site. It's a single-family home in SF20 zoning. Next picture. A little bit farther in, this is like the western portion of the subject site. They're doing some utility expansion, it looks like, in the area. Next picture. This is kind of more mid-site, and you're just going to see a lot of these are going to show you the semblance of trees or the break-in trees that are in the area. Next picture. You can see it a little bit more dense at this location. Next picture. So this is at 45th and Oliver. This is actually privately owned property. 45th kind of goes to the south a little bit, and there's actually a separate parcel between 45th and the subject site. Next picture. We're gonna be on Oliver looking west now. Next picture. We can kind of roll through these pretty quickly. Next picture. Next picture. This is the very north end of the site, and now we're going to switch to 53rd. Next picture, please. Looking south into the site. Next picture. So now we're going to be looking away from the site, going backwards the way we came. So this is the property in Keachai that has a single-family home in the ag field. It's at 53rd near Oliver. Next picture. We'll be looking on Oliver looking east. This is kind of had that feel where it's duplexes and there's some quadplexes, but it kind of has like a facility type of feel to it. Next picture. This you saw on the map as platted lots. There might be some homes developed in the back, but it's platted for a larger lot, single-family residential in the Bel Air zoning code. Next picture. It's about mid-site. There's a public park within the city of Bel Air. Next picture. Getting into the established homes that you can see are probably in the 70s era, I would say, along Oliver. Next picture. This is one of the commercially zoned properties closer to 45th Street in the city of Bel Air. Next picture. And this is south, looking to LC zone property in Wichita. These are duplexes near 45th and Oliver. Next picture. This is Stuckey Middle School. Next picture. I believe this is a land owned by the other school east of Stuckey Middle School. And I think I have one more picture. This is property owned by Coke that is currently zoned SF5, but you can see they're bringing utilities up from this direction towards the property. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Philip. Nice job. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you, Philip. We'll ask the applicant agent to come forth, identify yourself, your role, and your address, please.
Phil Meyer with Boffman Company, agent for the applicant. 315 Ellis is our mailing address. We are requesting limited commercial zoning on this property today. With this, part of the reason we're asking for this limited commercial, and if I could have staff go back to slide 11, which would be your zoning map, please. We do think this is an appropriate location for limited industrial zoning. You can tell there's a lot of limited and general over here. The access to the highway, both off of 45th and off of Oliver, makes it convenient, along with the rail corridor through here. We feel this is a good location for future industrial development. We do not have a specific user today that we're bringing to the site. You saw a zone change from Coke at the last meeting south of K96. You're seeing this one today. You'll see another one in the future where they're just going through cleaning up some of the property they have, setting the appropriate zoning in place at this point in time. Coke has not had any issue with the protective overlay. They're in full agreement with the protective overlay that staff recommended. We weren't sure what to present, and I kind of told them, let's turn this in, we'll visit with staff. And as soon as they started working on it, Philip called. We got together with the three of us and talked and worked through it through email conversations. I had several phone calls with Philip. I will point out again, and I appreciate him saying it, I believe it's closed now, but Coke has sold a piece of property over here to an independent private school that will be constructing a school there. They volunteered to extend that buffer at this location. We picked the 300 foot because that's the standard depth of a pad site. If you're going to do a pad site, and whether that's a strip center, whether that's a restaurant, whether that a single use is normally fits in 300 foot. So it was a good buffer to protect property to the east and property to the south. With that, I'm going to stop and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Phil. Any questions for the applicant agent? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Stand by. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Yes, sir. Yes, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Homan. I live at 4529 East Eagles Landing Court. That is the neighborhood directly to the south of what we're talking about here. Overall, the main reason why I came today was I wanted to find out exactly what was going to be going on going into the properties, and it doesn't sound like that's been determined yet, but the primary concern that we have, I'm on the HOA board there, and we've talked about this in the past. Lighting, noise, and traffic are our three biggest concerns, specifically traffic. We have lots of neighbors in that neighborhood that have kids that go to school in Stuckey. Traffic is already extremely bad up there. It gets backed up because that's simply it's a county road now that's been turned into a city street because of all the development up in that neighborhood. And the traffic can get backed up quite a ways. And it's bad in the mornings and in the evenings. You have to really time when you're gonna run your errands if you live in that neighborhood. But those are the three biggest concerns that I have, the lighting, noise, and the traffic. Sounds like those have been addressed, and I don't have a concern with any of that right now. But if there is going to be a heavy presence of new employees or whatever the case may be up there, the traffic really needs to be addressed, and the widening of the roads, and if we're gonna put a roundabout in that corner like has been discussed in the past, or what. I would prefer lights over a roundabout. That's it. Thank you much for your time.
Any questions for Mr. Holman? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick question for Philip. I think you told us Oliver was entirely in Bel Air. Is 45th Bel Air and the intersection itself all Bel Air?
I don't know about the intersection of where that line is. 45th is in Wichita.
45th is
Because
Wichita?
both sides are in the city.
Okay.
Bel Air, when I looked at the zoning map, and really deep dive in, I believe the entirety of the right of way is within Bel Air. So like the property line of this property and its right of way to the east, that is the city limit, is my understanding.
And I think you said you looked at the Wichita Capital Improvement Plan and saw nothing for 45th Street, correct?
That is correct.
Did you look at Bel Air's capital?
I did not.
Okay. My only suggestions to you, sir, would stay in contact with your district council person, which I believe is District 1, and then your Bel Air representatives to find out what their plans are for the roadways.
And it would have to be platted before any development goes in, and so
Yep.
there can be requirements for improvements to the streets through platting that would be at the applicant's expense if the city hasn't already planned on improving things.
Good.
I don't know how that applies to Oliver and cross-jurisdictional things, but
Good
Yeah.
point. Thank you. Any other public speakers? Mr. Meyer, or Mr. Phil, did you want to add anything as a rebuttal?
Just information for everybody if I can. This still has to go through the plating process. During that time, we'll be dealing with the traffic. It's very unique that all that right of way is in Bel Air. Not sure how that happened. I had and I'm sure he's listening on Facebook, I had a conversation with the city administrator, Ted Henry, for Bel Air today, kind of asking about that. I think at some point in time, probably during the plating process or sometime after that, the city of Wichita, city of Bel Air, and Sedgwick County are going to sit down together and figure out what to do on Oliver. Joint effort. Everything on 45th, the city of Wichita, and the traffic we'll deal with as we plat it.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Bring it back to the board for discussion.
I make a motion to approve based on staff recommendations.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Joe Johnson with a second by Commissioner Doug High. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes. That was our last item. We are adjourned. Hey, I was trying to. 3:50.